Tonight on Elon Local News. Members of the Elon community remember Derek Winton. We spoke to his friends.
From the sacred space to the field, Elon honors the 15th anniversary of 9/11.
And plays can take years to write, but these students only had 24 hours. Find out what they came up with.
All that and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Maya Eaglin.
And I'm Jackie Pascal. We begin tonight still mourning the loss of one of our classmates.
According to Town of Elon Police, fifth-year student Derek Winton was found unresponsive in his Phoenix Villas apartment around 12:45 a.m. Saturday.
First responders performed CPR and he was taken to Alamance Regional Medical Center where he died early that morning. Initial police reports say drugs or alcohol were involved.
Ashley Boley spoke to some of Derek's peers and friends who attended a vigil last night honoring his life.
2 days later, students returned to class with heavy hearts.
It's hard to walk around campus thinking, he should be walking here too.
On Saturday, fellow classmate and fifth-year student Alexia Moore found out about Derek Winton's death through Vice President for Student Life Smith Jackson's email. She said she was in shock.
Honestly, it just did not feel real.
Moore opened up about the 22-year-old Massachusetts native after a gathering of friends Sunday evening.
Whenever he would walk in a room, you'd get excited to see him.
His warmth was remembered by many who spoke, cried, and even laughed over the good times they shared with Winton.
He does have so many friends that I am sure wish they could have been here. If they were all here, this place would have been 10 times bigger.
And his legacy lives on with those who've already graduated and have known him since his freshman year.
And no matter if you had known him for a year or for a week, he would automatically be able to bring a smile to your face. He'd be able to make you laugh. He'd be able to connect with you in some way that a lot of other people don't have that ability to do.
He was really funny and goofy and just such a fun person to work with.
Ashley Boley, Elon Local News.
Investigators are still waiting for medical examiner's report and the toxicology report.
If you or someone you know would like to talk to someone about loss or grief, you can contact Counseling Services Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The phone number is 336-278-7280.
Counselors and the chaplain staff are available after hours by contacting campus police at 336-278-5555.
Stick with Elon News Network as we learn more information.
Voting is open for freshman class officer elections. Students can vote until Tuesday at 5 p.m. To vote, open the link to the ballot from an email sent out by Executive President Kyle Porro. Then pick the candidate you want for president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and senators. For more information on the candidates and to see their speeches, check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
Election Day is just 57 days away, and the first debate is at Hofstra University in just 2 weeks. Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton has canceled a campaign trip to California today and Tuesday after being diagnosed with pneumonia. Clinton is still scheduled to appear on the Ellen DeGeneres show on Wednesday. She'll also hold a rally in Las Vegas.
Chelsea Clinton will be campaigning for her mother in North Carolina this week. She will be at an organizing event in Durham and participating in a Women in Leadership panel at Wake Forest University tomorrow.
Donald Trump has made another stop in North Carolina. He spoke this evening in Asheville, and Trump will travel to Iowa, Pennsylvania, and Texas this week. He'll also be on the Dr. Oz show this Thursday to discuss his health.
A major court decision this summer may impact the 2016 election. Andrew Feather has reactions from professors and political organizations.
Following the Supreme Court decision last month, voter ID is no longer required in North Carolina for the 2016 election. This comes after a federal appeals court ruled the law unconstitutional in July, saying it intentionally targeted minorities. The law would have required an ID issued by the North Carolina or federal government to vote, such as a North Carolina driver's license or a passport.
In some ways, voter ID could theoretically have helped Republicans by making it harder for certain Democratic voters to vote. Director of the Elon University poll, Jason Husser, says this decision will make it easier for out-of-state college students to vote in North Carolina. Voter ID was an impediment to many college students, particularly those who didn't have a license one way or another. Not all students were happy with the decision, saying it could increase voter fraud.
The entire thing was that if you didn't have an ID coming in, it wouldn't matter who you were, what you were. You could have the entire nation of Puerto Rico voting, and you'd have absolutely no idea.
But others agree the law is unconstitutional and say it shouldn't be a partisan issue at all.
This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. I want everyone who is a citizen of the United States and a resident in North Carolina to have the opportunity to vote, regardless of their political affiliation.
Even with the law in place, Husser says there are still obstacles to college students voting.
They're only going to be in college for, say, 4 years, and so they may not be psychologically as invested in the community as somebody who's paying taxes. That actually makes it harder to vote than a legal impediment.
Andrew Feather, Elon Local News.
From spiritual services to athletic activities, Elon students remember 9/11 across campus.
A small room with a lot of potential. What's in store for the Asian Resource Room?
Though we all may not remember the day, we're still feeling the impacts of September 11th 15 years later. Yesterday, the Truett Center hosted an interfaith service honoring those affected. The event was open to the entire Elon community and included prayers from multiple faiths, a reflecting period, and a group activity where people shared their pledges to make the world a better place.
There are different aspects to the Elon University community in general, but this is one of those things where we can really come together and unite behind family that we may have lost, friends, and just kind of be together in a time of remembrance.
This weekend, Elon's club baseball, rugby, soccer, and hockey teams played to honor the people who died on 9/11. Club Sports Council Vice President Danielle Fowler says this day was an opportunity for fellow club sports teams and their opponents to honor those who died.
You're playing for something so much bigger than ourselves that we felt any home team that was here should honor and should support the 15-year anniversary.
Elon University President Leo Lambert is in Greensboro tonight for a panel on higher education. Lambert is joining 5 other presidents of private colleges and universities in North Carolina for the Governor Moorhead Forum. The presidents will discuss challenges and opportunities at their respective colleges and universities. Brian Anderson is there. For continuing coverage, check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
The panel Refugee Voices from Syria will be in the Newman Lumen Pavilion tomorrow from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Elon students will have the opportunity to learn about one family's journey to the United States and discuss the ongoing international refugee crisis. A reception will be held after the event.
A priest with a passion for woodworking. Meet Elon's new Catholic campus minister.
A performance put together in just one day. We follow the actors and writers behind the scenes. The Asian Resource Room is located in upstairs Mosley. It's a space many students don't know about. I explored this often overlooked place on campus. Elon's Asian Resource Room may be small, but Junior Surge Mini Sondrum says the room has a lot of potential.
I think we're definitely at a square one phase for this room. The fact that we have it, great. We have some stuff in here, but definitely kind of maybe bringing in some more things from different places. I think would definitely kind of just bring it all together and make it more of a place where people can come and hang out, do work.
Assistant Director at the Center for Race, Ethnicity, and Diversity Education, Ray Lin, says the Asian and Pacific Islander students, or API students, are not talked about enough in discussions about race.
We hear a lot when we talk about race. We hear a lot of black and white, and we hear, and increasingly we hear Hispanic and Latino issues come to surface, but we don't really hear too much about struggles that API students might go through.
Lynn says the Asian Resource Room can be used to spark discussion about API students on campus.
We have to ask ourselves why we need an Asian resource room or why we need an African American resource room. Because the only reason we need to have program services, resource rooms for underrepresented populations is because of a dominant culture that we're not talking about.
Ministrandrum believes that although the room is small, students need to take action to get others to use it.
If someone wants to bring something to this room, bring it. If you want to paint the room, paint it. If you want to just come to this room and hang out with your friends, do it. It's kind of where we're at right now. Actions do speak a lot louder than words.
Maya Eaglin, Elon Local News. If you want to visit the room, check it out in Mosley 225.
The Elon community has a new Catholic priest, Father Peter Tremblay. Perry Eliodurani sat down with the university's new religious leader.
From the minute I asked Father Peter how he likes his name spelled, he couldn't stop smiling.
Peter C. Tremblay. I do enjoy the use of my middle initial because it stands for Christian. My middle name is Christian, and it seems incredibly appropriate.
Tremblay began working as Elon's Catholic minister this past August, and so far, he says he's fit right in.
I myself have a personal love of the intellectual life. I haven't been able to put my textbooks down since I finished in the seminary 5 years ago.
When he isn't speaking at the university's churches or studying in his office at Newman Lumen Pavilion, Tremblay has another passion, woodworking, which started when he volunteered to help make furniture.
I said, I can make that. And so off to Home Depot I went and bought some 2x4s and did a terrible job of it.
He assures me that he's gotten better, but ever since he's been on campus, he says it's his work that's felt like play.
I hate alarm clocks, but ever since I started working here, my alarm clock and I have a much better relationship because I know my first priority is just to smile. Everything else is secondary. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful way to live.
Tremblay ends every day writing in a journal, and here I can just make out the words, "Interview went well." Perry Eliadrani, Elon Local News.
To meet Father Peter in person, you can find Mass times for Catholic Campus Ministry on their website.
The Department of Health Promotion and Sparks will co-sponsor the annual Can I Kiss You event Tuesday night. It's an interactive talk about healthy relationships, sexual consent, and sexual assault. Award-winning author Mike Dormitries will lead activities focused on skill building so students will not only be informed but also know how to make a difference. The event will be Tuesday evening in McKinnon Hall at 4:30 p.m. and again.
What's ahead for the Phoenix this weekend? The Elon volleyball team is off to its best start since 2009 thanks to a successful showing at the Elon Phoenix Classic this weekend. The Phoenix dominated its 4 opponents, winning 12 of the 15 sets it played this weekend. Elon capped off the tournament with a 4-set win against Gardner-Webb.
Sophomore quarterback Daniel Thompson will replace fellow sophomore Connor Christensen as quarterback for the rest of the season. Christensen injured his shoulder in the season opener against Gardner-Webb earlier this month. Coach Rich Skrosky says Christensen will have surgery this week and hopes he will be ready for the spring practice. Elon lost to Charlotte this weekend 47-14.
Tomorrow is a very busy day for Elon athletics as 4 teams will be in action. Both the men's and women's golf teams will be teeing off in Myrtle Beach as they continue play at the Golf Week Program Challenge. After 2 days of competition, the men's team is in 9th place and the women's team is in 13th place. Both the men's and women's divisions have 16 teams.
At 7 p.m., the volleyball team looks to continue its strong start against North Carolina Central. Finally, the men's soccer team travels to Raleigh, where it will take on North Carolina State at 7:30 p.m. For more sports news, grab a copy of The Pendulum on Wednesday.
Also in this week's issue, most plays can take years to write, but 6 teams of students managed to do it in just 24 hours.
Courtney Campbell has the behind-the-scenes look.
Obviously, on one hand, Carolina is everything I've ever dreamed of.
6 teams of students worked to write, direct, and rehearse the show to perform at the 24-hour plays on Saturday night. Writers were assigned their genre and cast size at 7:30 the night before, and the rest was up to them.
We worked on creating the overall story arc until about midnight, and then around midnight we moved from basic storyline things to dialogue.
At 6:30 a.m., the directors got their scripts, casted their shows, and began rehearsing. And the event attracted more than just theater majors. Senior Human Services major Roland Young was an actor.
24-hour plays, I remember when I first watched them my sophomore year, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, the kind of teamwork that took into creating all these projects, and I knew that was something I really wanted to do.
It's this passion that keeps participants and the audience coming back.
It's just like this unique experience, like in theater at Elon. It just has like its own like little culture and like cult following, and it's just like the most exciting, crazy, random thing you can experience here as an actor because you don't know what's going to happen every time.
Courtney Campbell, Elon Local News.
Before we go, check out these photos from this weekend's Dog Day Mixer. Both community members and students gathered for the 2-hour event outside the Elon Community Church for free food and some quality time with dogs. To see more furry friends as well as photos from other events, check out our website.
That's all we have for you tonight.
For all the news you need to know when we're off air, you can check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Elon News Network.
From all of us here at ELN, have a great night.